Welcome back, guys. We're on to the penultimate episode of The Power Now, episode 8, Just a Girl. I think it's safe to say at this point the TV show is loosely based on the book by Naomi Alderman. Sit back, open some snacks, and let's get straight into this. Oh, and of course, spoilers ahead. Right then, Ben. Just watched episode 8. Let's deep dive into this bad boy.
I'm happy to. Do you know what? I want to deep dive into this character by character if we can. I want to first discuss Ali, or Eve, as she's now known as well. That first intro scene, Steve, where she kind of emulated the Last Supper, didn't she?
Yeah, I did look at this and I thought there's a lot of wasted space there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, they could have had what is the point of having this table set up unless it's literally for the producers to go, oh, it's a Last Supper.
I think that is purely the only reason, because those nuns were very friendly in serving that. They would not be serving there. They were almost like waitresses to the girls.
Yeah, it's weird. So what's happening here now is what I think is we're getting like a cut of some nuns like them and some nuns don't. So it's like almost like a faction of the nuns, because we later see in that episode a few of the nuns get in a van and drive off, didn't they?
Yeah.
So you can see this
making a run for it while they can.
Yeah, run to the hills.
But
copyright.
But obviously, yeah, there's a moment where Sister Veronica, they find out the real identity of Alison, and that people are out there looking for her, and they've portrayed her as like a bit of a murderer, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, this is weird because obviously I've read a book, Book Wanker, and basically her identity's hidden for the whole series. No one actually picks up on that, like, she's Alison.
Yeah.
And there's on Urban Docs and stuff, as things progress, because Eve's more established at this point in the book, people have posted things saying, oh, don't we think she looks a bit like this Alison girl? And they've done like screenshots of, because Eve hides her face a lot, and they've like done screenshots and like measured the curvature of her face and stuff, and saying, look, see, she's got the same curve, and like they've like, and in the book it's almost made out to be more of that kind of conspiracy theory. So I think people just go, oh, you're being stupid, that's a conspiracy theory, it's not really Alison.
Yeah.
But obviously in this, they've gone full tilt and gone, yeah, it's Alison straight out the bat.
Yeah. And they're probably limited with time, haven't they? So they're about to kind of condense that in. But obviously, but that led to this Sister Veronica getting mind controlled.
So when you first saw that scene, obviously it's been teased now from the very first episode where they spoke about the eels and their ability. What did you think of that scene? How did you think it was going to play out the way it did?
I thought it was a bit. It proved my theory right for me, because I've been saying for a long time that Eve is this bad guy, and she's not as good as everyone's making it. She's not as angelic as people are saying that she is, and she's got this kind of ulterior motive. I touched last week about when she had the snake on her, that she was kind of representative of Eve, and she was listening to the devil almost, and getting that kind of evil voice inside her head saying, yeah, do this, do that. But in this one, that actually came true. Obviously, she got to Sister Veronica and she's mind controlled her, but quite aggressively. Like, she grabbed her hand on the phone and she was like, don't you do it, in a way.
So yeah, I can see the aggression pull there. So do you think Sister Veronica's right then in this instance? Because you're saying
she should have phoned the police.
Yeah, because you're saying Eve's the bad guy. Why? So in this scenario here,
because she only cares about herself.
But does she though?
Yeah.
Who is she? So contrary to that, I think Sister Veronica is the bad person here, because obviously Eve did kill her parents, but she's explained that she was abused and stuff, and Sister Veronica is having none of it, and Sister Veronica obviously hates her already because she's got the power. So do you not think Sister Veronica here actually, she's the bad guy?
No, not necessarily. I think, don't get me wrong, she shouldn't have probably called the police. She could have had a conversation, especially if the girls are under her control and her support and stuff. But I think, Alison or Eve has been looking after herself and putting herself forward in front of everyone else, because I get she was abused and stuff, and obviously she's got to put herself first in that situation, and she did, and she killed the guy and got out. But then ever since then, it was like, okay, she's not following any orders, really. When they were looking for that girl last week, everyone was saying, get in. And she was like, no, I'm not having it. I'm doing my own way. So she's listening to the voice inside her head, doing her own thing, regardless what anyone else is saying to her, which is a scary thing to do. Someone who's got the potential of unlimited power, and they're not listening to you, they will do what they want.
Yeah, but
When she found out that she could have been in trouble and people knew her real identity, she put herself first. She didn't think of anyone else in that situation. She put herself first, and she went to stop what was happening.
Okay, so you're seeing it almost not as she's a good person. She's just literally trying to do anything to save her own skin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. Fair enough.
That's what I think. And I think that, you know, later on in the series, obviously we can talk about it now, but yeah, later on at the very, very end, when she kills Sister Veronica, or presumed dead, obviously, you know, made to bleed from the eyes.
Well, I don't think she's not killed her directly then,
if you had that much you had the power and you had a voice saying, like, go deep inside someone's head and mind control them almost and change the way they're thinking. Do you not think there'd be consequences to that? Do you not think that actually that doesn't sound quite too simple?
Yeah. You made it sound like she killed her on the spot, but yeah, we can elaborate that what she did caused Sister Veronica to have a brain hemorrhage, right? That's why I assume it was, because obviously bleeding from the eyes. Yeah. But but again, not done necessarily intent evil. But again, I like the fact you've pulled out this. She's an evil character.
She is. It's all the references we're getting. Like I said in the last episode with the snake, and she's supposed to be this Eve. Eve, obviously, famously in the Bible, listened to the devil and went and picked fruit from the tree of knowledge when she wasn't supposed to. So she's done a bad thing. And obviously back in that story, Adam and Eve were specifically told by God, do not eat. You can do anything else in the world, but do not eat from that tree. So she disobeyed the rules, right? And in this story, she's disobeying the rules, listening to that voice, not following orders, and
that's fair enough.
And the fact that she controlled all the people in the water, Steve.
You like
that was scary.
That was supposed to be
on a rainy day. She could control whole of New York or something. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think she's that powerful, mate. That was supposed to be showing you that she's trying to make it seem godly. But before we move on to a discussion with Roxy,
go on.
When I saw that scene and I saw the nuns running away, first thing I could think was they're having none of it. I couldn't help myself, mate. But yeah, so we get this conversation now.
We do.
Between Roxy and Eve, we're finally getting multiple characters crossing over.
Yeah, and I was intrigued by that. You know, it reminded me back to when I said in episode 1 about it being similar to Heroes, and the characters and the stories are all starting to entwine with each other now. And when they were messaging each other, one of the things I noticed was obviously Roxy said to Eve, and it seems like a bit of a cult to me. And I've been saying this for a long time.
You have been saying it to a cult.
She's leading a cult, and
Could you argue that any religion is a cult in itself, by the same concept?
To a degree, yeah. To a degree.
Fair enough.
To a degree.
So, just going to throw some stuff in there. The way Roxy and Eve meet is very different.
Okay, yeah, go on then.
So, I don't want to lead in too much, because I saw the trailer for episode 9, and I'll give away what happens. So, I'm holding back.
Yeah, I don't watch the trailers.
I know you don't, but all I'm saying is that initial breaking the ice is very different in the book. And I want to discuss it next week when we've seen episode 9. Oh. So I really want to talk about it.
Well, for me, who's just seen this, who just knows the series, not the book, that interaction where she was saying, and then Eve suddenly said something like, come and get me, bitch, or something like that. I was like, whoa, this is getting fiery. And I started to imagine in my head, who's going to win in that fight? Who would actually win?
Oh, okay. Okay, well, obviously, speaking about Roxy, let's go straight into Roxy's story this week. Obviously, we learnt some big news, didn't we? And that is that we believe Roxy's dad might have been the one who almost called the shots to have her mother killed.
Good old Bernie Monk, yeah.
He wanted you there, Rox. Out of your mum's house.
And I think it was something like, why else? Why did you think you were supposed to be at that wedding? I mean, he wanted you out the house. And at that moment, I was like, wow, I didn't expect that coming.
So...
Did not expect it at
Obviously,
all.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But not at this point. So in the book, this happens much later on down the line.
Yeah.
And when I spoke last week about that scene in the pool, the shitty pool.
Yeah.
That scene in the book is her going after her dad's, one of her dad's men. And he tells her that her dad had ordered her mother's death, basically. So basically, when that shit scene happens, he was actually advised to the family. So she goes out of her way and finds him.
Do you think they've done it in this way that one of her brothers is telling her to make it more of that story around that a family doesn't like her? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, again, I've mentioned this quite a few times now in there. They've made it so her family hate her more in the book. In the TV series, sorry, than they do in the book. In the book, Bernie does actually love her in a weird way, even though he had her mother killed.
Yeah.
It's some weird thing. But at this point in the book, Roxy's much more powerful than she is now. Roxy's leading the business at this point in the book. She's probably the most powerful woman, power-wise, on the planet. And I've already said before, Roxy's really powerful. But she's the most powerful one. Like, no one can touch her. So she's in a whole different field at this point. So almost the way the TV show is putting Roxy is making her more like a child than the woman she really is in the book.
Well, now she's got a third of the monk business, the succession. Do you think she's going to kill her dad, take that power, and then almost force her brother's majority shares over to her, so she does technically become not only the most powerful in terms of electric and the EOD, but most powerful in terms of she runs the criminal organisation almost?
Yeah, well, if we're taking this purely from the book,
yeah,
I would say, yeah, she's going to take the monk enterprise, do away with her brothers, dispatch them all, and get onto it. But obviously, because I know what happened to the book, I'm struggling to understand how they can do it with the TV series personally.
Okay. It's an interesting one to watch, and I'm looking forward to the final episode next week to see how Roxy kind of ends the show.
Yeah, mate, I saw the trailer. It's going to be good, guys.
Oh, God, I'm looking forward to it.
And that brings us on to our weekly soap drama, doesn't it? Which
it does.
Margot and the Family.
Yeah. Do you know what? For me, this episode was a bit weird. It was like a forced interaction that they had at the house, and then this led to this camping trip where we reveal that the brother did in fact leak the video, and then there's a moment where Joss is hating him for that, shouting at him, and she tries to kill him.
I don't think she's trying to kill him. I think she's trying to...
I mean, her words were, "I will kill you," or "I wish you were dead."
I like to think it's a bit like Dobby in it. Just hurt or maim.
Yeah, but
never kill.
She was about to throw some electric. She was about to Shazam him.
I really like the fact, though, that Margot fired it back, and they almost had this bit where they both dispelled each other, and I really liked that. But again, bringing it back to the book, you don't find out... Rob doesn't find out about Margot's powers until a bit further on from now, and again, next trailer we see what happens when he would actually find out. So the fact that they've revealed it here is a bit weird again, because this boy character doesn't exist in the TV series, so Margot keeps it a secret on purpose for her career and not to hide it from Rob.
Yeah, but that's something. Do you think that... Because I touched on the whole divorce thing with Rob and Margot, and I was saying to you that I think that with that information of a divorce, I think that if that leaked, that would affect her career so much more than if it was to say, like, her daughter's boyfriend has the power, the first male or whatever, or even she has the power. I reckon the divorce is more critical. It seems weird to think that, but I think that it is. Like in terms of having someone lead your country, you either want them to lead them with power, brilliant. An interaction with the first male who has electricity, brilliant. Or but a divorce, well. And that's, I think, how society might see it nowadays.
Well, I think purely because if you look at how her campaign has gone in this, they've tried to make it so Margot's the family woman.
Yeah.
She's got it all. She's got the kids. She's got the husband.
The successful housewife.
And I suppose even like it is now, if a successful man's wife leaves him, you start to question, why would a successful man's wife leave him? What if your family is this good and your husband or wife is this good? Why would you leave them? I think you're right. I think that would break it. And just to contrary to believe, obviously, Rob seems like the good guy in this, doesn't he? He's divorcing her because she can't spend time with the family.
Yeah,
in the book, mate, he divorces her because he commits adultery. Yeah, he has an affair, but it's led to believe that he has the affair because she's not around anymore, because she's pushing her political career.
So busy doing that.
Which again, it's that role reversal we've seen with Rob and Margot, because obviously Margot, because when you think about it, you often hear of women who say, "Oh, well, I cheated on my husband because he's never available.
Yeah.
He's never here." So they're playing that whole different system with Rob, and they're saying like, can happen either way. And obviously Rob is is like the typical how you would normally see.
Yeah, they have done a gender switch in this instance, haven't they? Which I think is good to see.
But I like that Rob's character in this has been upheld wholly, though. Like, Rob has been
portrayed well by the actor.
He has. He's been great by the actor, but not only that, his character, like, they've not made him have the affair. He's a good dad. He's all round an excellent guy in this.
That's because they've made every other man look like a jackass. That's why.
Well, I mean, every other man in it is a jackass. Apart from Rob and Tunde.
Fair enough. Well, do you know what? Let's touching on jackasses for a minute. There's one big fat jackass in this that gets destroyed by Good old
Tatiana,
that's the one. And so obviously this is following Tunde's journey, where he goes to actually carry on the message from Zoya and meet with Tatiana. And yeah, they have a bit of an interaction first, don't they? And he recognises the ankle tag and stuff like that, which is interesting. And then we get to the end scene where, in my eyes, she goes fucking psycho.
So you mentioned that Victor was horrible jackass. So is Victor not a good guy then?
I don't know.
Sorry, I couldn't resist it. That scene, was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm going to speak about the book in a second, how it's different. But that scene was it was brutal.
Mate, her acting in that, the woman who plays Tatiana, is incredible. Like, we've seen her as this shy, timid character, and then she suddenly switches that psychotic button and just absolutely slaughters everything inside. Like, I kind of knew something was going to happen, but then it was the dog, she kicked the dog or whatever, and then she absolutely just battered him.
You know what, when he kicked the dog, I was like, it's fine to die.
I think my only flaw to that is when she was hitting him and she was wailing him, there wasn't enough. It was a graphic scene and you could hear the sound effects, but actually the damage, I think, on the guy's head didn't represent. Do you know what I mean? When she was swinging and hitting that constantly, and it showed you a quick scene, he had like a couple cuts on his head, and I thought, actually, that doesn't quite portray.
So, for me, it was this dude, obviously, jackass man. He's a proud man. When she first hit him, I don't think he would have let her hit him again.
Yeah.
That for me, that's where the realism stopped.
Yeah, but he's old, and he.
Yeah, but still, he would have put up a fight right against that. I don't think he would have let her hit him again. But the one thing that did make me question everything, when she finally calls a maid up,
and
a maid sees what she's done, and she electrocutes a maid to death, the ankle tag doesn't go off.
Yeah.
So what was the point of the ankle tag? So I assumed the ankle tag would go off, and someone would immediately run upstairs and go, "Oh, there's lightning."
Well, they never showed that it worked though.
That's what I'm saying. So it was like was almost.
Was it a dud? Was it a decoy?
I don't know, but you could see it was weird, right? There was no. It made no sense to have that tag on if it never did anything.
No, because she fried it.
When?
I'm sure she fried it because when she went in the bath on the previous week, she was soaking in the bath, and it almost like I'm sure I remember seeing a clip of it and again electrocuted.
Well, no. Why would she not just electrocute him?
I don't know. No, because she was in the bath herself, wasn't she?
No. When she said of smacking him on the head, why would she not just electrocute him? It was fried.
Because she wanted to beat the shit out of him to get justice for the dog.
Then. So here's where it differs in the book.
Go on then.
So in the book, Tunde has the interview with the president on his own, of his own accord. He's not there by chance. He's the man. He's the shiz. And then after the interview, he speaks to Tatiana. And Tatiana's like, talking to him about it. She's like, and he's like, do you have the audit? And she's like, yeah, I do have it. And then she says something along the lines of, look out for this, because the power is about to shift. And then it goes on to say, 1 week later, the president had a heart attack. And Tatiana claimed the power.
Yeah. Well, do you think she's jeopardised the future by doing that?
No, I don't. I think she's too big in the book for it not to be the next leader.
Yeah.
And we've seen in the trailer the second in command kissing her ring, haven't we? Where he kneels down and he's kissing her ring.
Yeah.
So she's obviously going to take power, but I think Tatiana is one to watch, guys. I think next episode we're going to see some big things. The thing that's the most different for me is Zoya. Zoya's not in the book. Yeah. She doesn't have these rebels in the book like this. So I want to know what they're going to do. Yes. And I think this is where they're going to start. You've mentioned this before. You believe they're going to branch away from the book now.
Yeah, 100%.
So I want to see what happens with Zoya. Is Zoya going to try and take power? Or are they going to rule together? Are they going to...
I reckon they'll try to rule together. Well, they're too opposing for because of their upbringing, I suppose, that they'll clash. Will one of them die then? I don't know. Or will they go off and form their own? I don't know. It's too early to tell, but I definitely think that they're both going to be up in the ranks with Margot.
Oh, okay then.
And then Roxy's going to knock them all off.
Knock them all off. Well, I just wanted to end with one last thing. Obviously, at the start of this, in the intro, I mentioned, it's loosely based on the book. And I said that because, as I've mentioned throughout all of these now, I have no idea. We're here in the book, we're there in the book. Yeah. At this point, the book's like, the book wrote a story, and the TV guys have gone, let's put that in the bin. So I'm a little bit disappointed because I feel the book story is better than the story we're being told now. But they could have made characters' backstories bigger from the book. That was what the book was missing, and this could have gone there. Right then, guys, to wrap this all up, what do you think Roxy and E's interaction is going to be like? Obviously, they're going to meet at some point soon. What do you think will happen? Let us know in the comments. And as always, we'll catch you next week with something new.
Take care.
See ya.